Have you ever stopped and wondered how we make sense of this giant, ridiculously complex machine we call the economy? Well, it turns out the way we see it today, it was actually forged in the fire of one of the darkest moments in modern history. Let's dig into how a global crisis completely flipped our perspective on its head.
We all think about these things, right? Will prices keep going up? Is my job safe? Is the economy on the right track or not? These are personal, they're important, and they feel huge. And believe it or not, these are the exact questions the field of macroeconomics was created to answer. But here's the thing, to even begin to get a handle on those big questions, you first have to understand that economists have two totally different lenses for viewing the world. And honestly, the best way to think about these two views is with a really simple analogy. Are you looking at the individual trees, or are you trying to understand the entire forest?
So on one side, you have microeconomics. This is all about the trees. It's the study of individual players, a single person deciding what to buy, a family managing its budget, one company trying to make the best decisions for itself. But then you've got macroeconomics. This is the view from 30,000 feet. It's the view of the whole forest. It steps way back to look at the big picture. Massive forces like inflation, unemployment, and a country's total output.
For a long time, the main way of thinking, championed by guys like Adam Smith, was that if you just understood the trees, the forest would basically take care of itself. The idea was, hey, if every person and every business just acts in their own self-interest, the whole system will magically sort itself out for the good of everyone.
Right. This was the classical way of thinking. It pretty much held that the economy was self-correcting. Any problems, like a bit of unemployment, oh, that's just a temporary blip. The market will always find its balance and fix itself. It was a really comforting idea, and it was about to be proven catastrophically wrong.
Yeah, because in 1929, the system didn't just bend, it completely shattered.
The Great Depression wasn't just a downturn. It was a global economic nightmare that kicked off in 1929 and just kept getting worse year after year. All across Europe and North America, production ground to a halt and jobs just vanished.
And this is where you really see how the old ideas failed. In the United States, the unemployment rate didn't just rise, it exploded. It went from a totally normal 3% in 1929 to an unbelievable 25% by 1933. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. 1 out of every 4 people who wanted a job simply could not find one.
And this wasn't some quick recession. This was a long, drawn-out disaster. Factories were silent, people stopped buying things, and millions upon millions of people were thrown out of work. That old idea that the economy would just self-correct, it sounded like a cruel, sick joke. Clearly, looking only at the individual trees was useless when the whole forest was burning down.
The world was desperate. We needed a new way of seeing, a new way to understand what was happening. And a British economist was about to step up and give it to us.
His name was John Maynard Keynes, and in 1936, he dropped a book that basically turned the world of economics on its head. He didn't just poke holes in the old classical view of Adam Smith. He built a completely new way of thinking from the ground up.
So what was his big revolutionary idea? It was actually pretty straightforward. Keynes argued that you can't possibly understand a total system meltdown like the Great Depression by only looking at what individuals are doing. No, you have to analyze the entire economy as one giant, interconnected system. You have to study how all the different parts work together. And just like that, with that single idea, a brand new field of study was born. This was the birth of macroeconomics as we know it, a toolkit designed specifically to check the vital signs of the entire economic forest.
Okay, so we've got the origin story. We know why we needed this new perspective, but what does it actually look at? Well, this new framework breaks the entire economy down into a few key players. Macroeconomics basically looks at the economy as having 4 big teams, or sectors. First up, you've got households. That's you, me, all of us. We buy stuff, we hopefully save a little, and we work for a living. Then there are the firms, the companies that make things, hire us, and invest in building for the future. Player number 3 is the government. They collect taxes, spend that money on things like roads and schools, and basically set the rules of the game. And last but not least, the external sector. This is everything to do with other countries. All the goods we sell to them, that's exports, and all the stuff we buy from them, that's imports. The whole point of macroeconomics is to study how these 4 big players all interact with each other.
Now, I know this might sound a little academic, maybe a little abstract, but trust me,
Understanding this big picture is absolutely crucial, not just for economists, but for every single one of us.
Because at the end of the day, understanding the whole economy helps us make sense of our own lives. Those big forces, inflation, unemployment, economic growth, they're not just numbers on a screen. They are the invisible currents that shape the security of our jobs, the prices we pay at the grocery store, and the kind of future our kids are going to have.
So there you have it. Macroeconomics was born out of a massive crisis to give us a map, a way to see the entire economic landscape. It lets us step back from our one little tree and actually check on the health of the entire forest. So the only question left is, now that you know how to look, what are you going to see?